need to know where we can save and how we can save. I'd like to see that. And again, just like I said, using all the resources that we have, there are many, many, many out there, and we just need to take the time to find them. And it can save us a lot of money in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the what to improvements to focus on, that's obviously a tough issue to just nail it down to two, and I'll be repeating myself because I've already talked about a comprehensive plan a few times tonight. But I think that's a theme to this answer, and I think that would allow us to identify what constituents' concerns and what their improvement concerns would be. But that obviously would be infrastructure and school and communicating with them, but I think that would help inform us. As Mr. Gerger referred to earlier about his experience with having a budget that was much smaller than what the needs were, I think we're going to have a lot of needs going forward. My background is in finding sources of revenue through successful federal grants and state grants and through family foundations and corporations. And I think as we go through a comprehensive plan process, and it sounds like that's a theme that we could be able to move forward on, that's going to be a good opportunity for us to build collaborations throughout the village and find sources of revenue to be able to do different things. Maybe partner with the schools and things there to how we can help make improvements there, how we can make infrastructure needs in people's neighborhoods that meet those needs. But I think those are things that we're going to have to look at through that process.
Yeah, so kind of like what Paul said, limiting it to two is kind of a hard, tough thing. But if I was to pick two, I laid out 5 on my website in what I call my strategic plan. But the top 2 I think that I talk about right now are the partnerships. The trustees as communication liaisons, building those relationships, pooling our resources to be able to go after additional grants from other sources, the federal, the state grants when the state gets its stuff together. Being able to pool those resources with the townships to bring in additional sources of revenue, to bring in new sources of revenue. One of the things that it didn't work out, but one of the things I worked with the current village board on was a contract that was going to allow cell towers in our area that was going to bring in extra dollars into our community. It fell through, it didn't work out, but those types of things are critical to bringing in new dollars we don't have now. Another thing that I would really like to do is work on a deep relationship with the current village employees and finding out, do we have enough employees? Do we have too many employees? Where do we need to backfill? What type of things do they need on a daily basis that either they don't have now or could use additional resources in? One of the key things that I can bring to the table is technology. That's my current day-to-day job as the lead engineer at Memorial, and it's going to be key as the belts need to tighten that technology is used to drive efficiency with the current employees that we have. So those 2 things I think are very key. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, the 2 improvements would be, there's a lot to pick from, but I would wholeheartedly agree with, we need a comprehensive plan to kind of establish a blueprint, and that would include our structure as a village. That would include partnering with the schools. I would hope that the schools would do a comprehensive plan as well, and hopefully we could look at the 2 together and see where they meet and see where we both need to react to each other. As far as the second thing is, I would push for a comprehensive procurement ordinance. Like I said, I think we've gotten into some of the situations that we're in because we haven't procured things correctly. I think when we're a village of 1,000 or 2,000, it's easy to go down the street and say, I know Paul hauls wood, I'll just hire him. But when we're a village of 15, 20,000, 25,000, way down the road, it needs to be procured correctly if it's over a certain amount. We don't want to procure everything under that ordinance, so we would have to establish an ordinance that we feel comfortable with and set procurement limits. The other thing is our ordinance, along those lines, is our ordinances don't have sunsets. So, you know, an ordinance that was relevant for a town of 10,000 is not relevant for a town of 30,000. So I would set a sunset provision in that procurement ordinance, and so down the road, the trustees can look and see, is this still relevant? They'll have to look and see if it's still relevant. And then they can reaffirm that it's still relevant, or they can change the amounts, or they can change what needs done. And those are the two things I would look at. Thank you.
Two improvement areas other than water and wasteful spending. Number one is our schools. I think that our excessive growth has burdened our schools, and it's not healthy. I think also, number two, our infrastructure, and this is a repeat, I think we all agree our roads are in bad shape. We haven't taken care of things. And I think that's also attributable to our excessive growth. I think we need to reduce our growth to a sustainable level. Those are two of the areas I'd like to move on.
Okay, we're going to repeat it again. Infrastructure. The one thing that I'm happy to say that when we're talking about the waste and trying to keep costs down, we have a lot of contractors in this town. We have a lot of good people that have talent in this town. I know that we recently had the railroad station that volunteers came in. I mean, they limited what they spent on getting the new roof and the painting and everything done. Those were volunteers. Those were contractors here in Chatham. And, you know, moving forward with this, infrastructure is a big thing. When you've got an 81-year-old mother that's screaming that the sidewalk's broken, she's not worried about her. She's worried about the lady with the wheelchair up the street. You know, we have to find a way and a means. But this is a tough question until we all get in the office and actually see the figures, see what's been spent, and then give the state the financial issues that it's in. Grants are going to be hard to come by, but I think that everybody here is basically on the same page. It's hard to answer some of these questions because the door has been shut. Everybody here is willing to open that door once you've elected the people that you believe in, and then when we get our fingers and our eyes into what's been spent and what's left, that's when we'll be able to give you guys the answers you deserve.
Two largest issues. At least there's a lot of issues where I agree with everybody there. Comprehensive planning. I think it was 2008 we had our last comprehensive plan. In my walking through the community, I've sat and talked to two people on the current planning commission. Both of them have good ideas. They both seem to be fairly educated people. I enjoyed talking to them about 15 minutes apiece. But you know what? They need to have this board give them a direction. How do we want to plan? What do we want to plan? What are we looking at here? They really need a direction, okay? Because without a direction, we're going to be back to that 2008 plan that doesn't really mean anything. I browsed through it, but it's almost meaningless. So I'm sorry, but we need to go forward with a better planning commission, propose our growth, push it forward, and give these people that are smart on the planning commission a little guidance, give them direction. Go north, south, east, west, give them direction. Main thing, Brian, I don't know if you're going to elect her or not, but if I get elected, I'd like to volunteer for that to go on the school board. I've got a PK 3 grandson and a 4th grade granddaughter, and I think it's very important that this board sit down with the school board, because that tie there is the main thing we have in this community. People come to this community because of the school system. Okay, 30 years ago when I came to this community, it was because of the school system. It was either here or Rochester, okay? And it's still the school system is bringing people here. So, board, who gets elected, but please take Ryan's idea.
Well, I definitely want to thank everyone who did bring up infrastructure. You know, that's my number one concern. I brought up the need to find out what the condition of our roads are.
And this is after 30 years with IDOT in the transportation facility, or transportation facilities. The 20 years of that, working with local agencies, 15 counties, 188 municipalities, and 246 townships in the District 6 area. I've worked with communities that are less than 100. I've worked with Springfield and everything in between. Besides just providing technical expertise to these communities on their roadway needs, I'm also able to talk to them about funding solutions. You know, what's out there, what they can possibly obtain. I do believe with the current federal administration, there will be a fairly large infrastructure improvement out there, whether it's $500 billion or $1 trillion. I've heard numbers everywhere in between. I do believe a serious talk of that will be in Congress later this fall, and I do believe Chatham needs to make sure they are able to go to their state and congressional legislators and basically say, here's what our needs are, how can we tap into some of those funds, and I believe that is definitely going to be a big plus, especially after reading Rochester did a study on their roadways, and I believe their number was somewhere around $13 million. That may have also included water lines, sewer, so forth, but that is a large number, and I'm sure Chatham's is going to be much larger, but until we know what that number is, we cannot plan properly. My second is going through the village ordinances. There are areas that do need to be improved. I know one of them was anti-nepotism. There are some other areas, especially making sure that we do hold the developers' feet to the fire, or to make sure we protect our system as those developments come through.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to allow for each candidate running opposed to give their final remarks and why they're running for office. There were also several questions about the types of volunteer activities that you've done in the community and how they've impacted our community. So you may want to add that if you feel that you have the time and you wish to do so. I would like to thank our audience tonight and for the wonderful questions and your attentiveness. I appreciate it very much, and I know the candidates and the rest of the people here do too. And I'd like to thank all the candidates for their participation this evening.
Well, as far as some final things about myself, when we first moved to Illinois, we came from Indiana. I came over here because of the job with the Department of Transportation. We actually decided we wanted to be in the country, so we actually located down in Glenarm, but we also wanted to make sure we were in good school district, which is called Chatham. And then as we started our family, 29 years or so ago, that's when we decided it was probably time to start moving into Chatham. You know, when I came into Chatham, into the subdivision, I became very active on the subdivision board and basically served as president. I then basically went from there to volunteering for 15 years on the planning commission. And yes, we did go through the comprehensive plan. Unfortunately, there was very few people there, and I do hope that when we do bring that back, we do get the input from the citizens on that. Chatham is a great place to be. You know, as far as my involvement with the community, basically I've been involved with the Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. Right now, my passion for the past 12 years is getting kids interested in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We started a program for high school students to get them involved in engineering. We've had many success stories. We have also, for the past 11 years, been working with 5th grade classes involving engineering in the classroom. This past year, we basically worked with probably 300 plus 5th grade students within the Springfield, Chatham County area, and I'm glad to say that I have served as co-chair for that committee for the past 3 years.
Well, it's probably pretty obvious from my responses, I'm not a politician, okay? I'm a registered engineer, mechanical engineer in the state of Illinois. Got a master's degree in business administration. I run businesses, I run large construction projects. I'm currently working sort of part-time at Charter State Plumbing and Heating as a project engineer. Why did I run? Because I care, okay? And I have to care because I entered this race too late to be on the ballot on the right-hand candidate. You'll find out how to vote for me. If you want to vote for me, on those tabs over there, okay? Pick one up when you leave. One of the things, if I'm elected, I'm going to make sure that, it's been mentioned down here before, that we've made mistakes, okay? One of the plain mistakes we made was South Salem Water Commission started back in 97, 98. And it's matured back to where we are today. We got a mistake, now we got to take it to cure it, okay? We got to get somewhere from what we've done there. My wife will attest this. I don't plan on ever moving from Chatham. I'll try to do what I can do from here. She's smiling. Thank you. I never plan to. I like it here, okay? I've got friends here. I enjoy what I do here. I'm close to everything. I like it. So I'm not ever planning on moving from Chatham. And I think about the last thing I'm going to say, if you got a sweet tooth, if you looked in the paper, as good as yours, come see me on Sunday afternoon, 1 to 4. And I'll be sitting there talking to anybody. If you got any questions at all, want to have an ice cream, come and talk to me. No, you get a single scoop.
There you go. Well, I've been blessed because my kids grew up in this school, started, graduated, and then they moved back. They're successful businessmen. Well, they're two different people, okay? Got 6 wonderful grandkids here. Finally told the husband we're moving back. I need to be near them. But the reason why is with what my family went through, a tragic situation, the support that I saw from this town and the districts, what they did for our family, for our kids, you can't explain that unless you've been there. It's a village. It's not City of Springfield. I don't want it to be the City of Springfield. I want it to be a village. A village where you guys all can stand there and say, yeah, I live in Chatham and I'm real proud of it. Okay, I could have said damn proud of it, but I chose real, okay? I plan on moving. I have about 2 years before I can retire from the City of Springfield and bringing up the City of Springfield. I didn't do a lot of college, but the education that I've gotten in the 24 years at the City of Springfield is going to be a benefit here. Been a 911 operator. That's where I met the husband, waking him up and telling him to bring me treats in the middle of the night, okay? I worked for the sewer department. I questioned a purchase that they were going to make, asking for specs on a vehicle because I knew what I was talking about. I worked for the Public Works Garage. I worked for Public Health. You think I bounced around a lot? Yeah, I did. I got several jobs at the City of Springfield, and I moved up for the pay raise, but also the education. And the knowledge I got from all those jobs is going to be more than useful here. And anybody out there that has not been able to attend college, taking care of deaf parents, or whatever reason you couldn't, you know when your hands are rough from work and your heart and soul is put into a job for 24 years and talk about politics in the City of Springfield, hello, that's an education. That's what I'm here for. I want to continue listening and helping this village stay a village. Thank you.
Jewel Grant again. My husband and I have lived here for 14 years. We have 3 boys, and sometimes I just say I have 4 boys. I bring a unique skill set to this election. My background is in water and wastewater treatment, and I hold certifications in both. I'm currently a chemist at the Illinois EPA, so I know that the knowledge that I have on water and wastewater treatment will serve me well on the board, and I think it will help everyone when we're dealing with the problems that we're having at South Sangamon Water Commission. I'd appreciate your vote on April 4th. Thanks.
Thank you. My wife and I moved here 13 years ago. Volunteer-wise, I have coached everything. If you can think of a sport, I've coached it for both kids. Luckily, within the last year, I got to turn them over to other coaches. So that's where I've gotten some free time. But on my son's soccer team, his coach is a JC. We always played the Sweet Corn 3v3 soccer tournament. And through that, seeing the Sweet Corn Festival, recently joined JC, so I hope to continue to be a volunteer that way. As far as the election, I've met all the trustee candidates here. That's all I'll speak to. All of our hearts in the right spot. What I would suggest you do is look at our professional background, what we can bring to the board, and how we can solve problems. I don't think you can make a wrong vote on April 4th, but I hope that you vote for me. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. You know, me and my wife moved here 16 years ago. We have raised 5 children, still have 2 of them in school, 3 of them are been through the high school. I've got a 20-year experience as a telecommunications engineer. Before that, you know, I went to college to be an architect. I ran my own construction company for a few years after college. So the thing that I bring to the board is a very jack of all trades skill set, right? From working on the server that makes something work, you know, a computer in the background, to throwing a plot plan on a table. You know, I know what it is. I can read it. I can fix it. So, you know, I do bring a little bit of a unique perspective to things. Through this process, we started going to the board meetings a couple years ago because of the water, and I started getting really vocal at them. One night, laying in bed, I'm kind of flipping and flopping. Boy, I got pretty vocal last night, and you know, I point fingers, you know. And I'm thinking, you know what? If I'm going to be able to stand up there and point my finger at somebody, I better be willing to have that finger pointed at me. That's why I'm standing here. I love this town. My family has flourished here, and I want nothing more than to serve as a trustee for this community and to work through the issues and to move it forward into a technology-based future, because that's where we're going across the board. So come April 4th, I really would love to be your trustee. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. So, why I'm running, I have a deep desire to serve others. That's why I work in the not-for-profit sector. That's why you do it. You know, philanthropy means love of mankind. It should be a love of personkind out there. But we moved here, and I'm always proud to hear people say they moved here because of the schools. We moved here because my wife became a teacher here. So I'm extremely proud of her and our teachers and our students. We have a 5- and 2-year-old, and we're going to go through those schools. So we're committed to this community. We love it here. And that's why we moved here, was essentially because she became a teacher. I'm involved for several years in terms of involvement. I've delivered Meals on Wheels. That's been very meaningful for me, that outside of my work, not-for-profit, and serving others, I've done that for several years. I've currently been on the Chatham Educational Foundation Board, where we raise resources to support the teachers and schools and the students. And I'm also in the Chatham JCs and working with that a great group of people and everything they do in the community, and there's so many other things going on. But that's everything I'm doing here. But as a not-for-profit, as Mr. Gerger said, in terms of professional mindset, that I feel like my professional skills are the mindset that's needed on the board. Because when you work with donors, you're really an advocate for their donations, because they are put their trust and credibility in you as an organization and what you do, because what they're doing is establishing a legacy for them after they're gone, because they want to partner with you. As village representatives, we're advocates for the taxpayers and your tax dollars. Your tax dollars come in no matter what. But I would take the mindset that I'm an advocate for your tax dollars and what you're doing, and I would take that same mindset onto the board. Thank you. And I'll add, not just voting on April 4th, but you could vote tomorrow, 8:30 to 5. You can vote on Friday, 8:30 to 5, on Saturday from 9 to noon, or next Monday, 8:30 to 5, at the Sangamon County building.
Thank you. The reason why I am running is because for 2.5 years, as many know, there's several of us that have been going to board meetings and showing the disrespect that I feel that we got at a lot of those board meetings. I just felt that the village needed a new leadership. I retired, have been retired for 10 years. I have in the past a lot of the things that all of these have done, but as you know, not working for 10 years, being at home and that, my children have grown and graduated from Glenwood. That's, like everyone else has said, that's the main reason we moved here, was because of the school system, and that's exactly the reason why I moved here. And it's a good that we now also still have that very good school system. As a mayor, I have the time. I was in management for 37 years, and you know, in management, you are the one that solves the problems. You are the one that takes and hears all the problems. And I do feel that I do have that ability to bring the village back to where it needs to be in showing the citizens that they are very important. If I am elected, I will always make myself available by phone, email, or will meet with citizens that have questions or ideas for Chatham project. I would appreciate your vote on April the 4th. Thank you.
We'll start with the why I run. I run because I'm proud of Chatham. I believe in it. I believe in what we do as a community. I believe in who we are as a community. And I certainly believe we have one of the best communities in all of Illinois. Volunteerism is close and dear to me. It's how I was raised, that you continually strive to give back to your community. You strive to make everybody around you be a better person, put them in places that help them succeed, and continue to help lift everybody up around you. I think even as an accountant, which is normally an introvert, is what drew me into the hospitality industry. Hospitality is all about that giving nature, and I like Conrad Hilton's philosophy when he started the Hilton Hotel chain. Is his goal in life was provide the light and warmth of hospitality to the world, and I think you can do that through charity, through giving, through being active in your community. Stay active a lot with the Chatham JCs. Brett, you're welcome for the 3v3 tournament, because I was the soccer guy that had to teach them what soccer even was. We founded the Chatham Friends of the Park, recognizing that governments get stretched, and a lot of times what the first sacrifice to a government is its culture, and is its arts, and is its education. And starting the Friends of the Park was one of those ways that says, how do we become a partner with the village? How do we keep the culture and keep the recreation a part of what we're doing, and provide it through philanthropy and charitable giving and a lot of volunteerism hours? You know, and obviously the JC is very near and dear to me, to what I do. It's one of those things that you try to teach your children. I've got an 11-year-old, I've got a 6-year-old, and God bless you if you've ever met my 6-year-old, you'll notice what it means to be the happiest person in the world despite any challenge that you face. They drive me in everything that I do. I'll move faster here. Why you run? I've been a trustee for 4 years. In 4 years, we've accomplished a lot of things. We don't take the time to sit and talk about those things. Every single fund balance in the Village of Chatham is in a better position today than it was when I stepped onto that board. As of the end of January, there's a 4-month operating reserve in the general fund of the village that was never there before. Over $1 million worth of free cash that has accumulated, has been accomplished through wise spending, through very calm, level-headed, professional decision making, always done making the small moves that keep the long-term best interest of Chatham at heart. And that long-term best interest of Chatham is what drives me. I think a village president is the champion. They're the chief promoter of the village. We live in a great city. We live in a great town. We have great friends. We have great neighbors. We have great schools. Let's not be afraid to show that. Let's be passionate about who we are. Let's capitalize on the strengths that we have in this village to achieve the greatness that we can, because that's what moving forward together is all about.
Craig Law. I'm running based on several things. I grew up here. I love this community. My family's still here as far as my sisters. Their children are here going to school. And I'd like to see us move forward. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of negativity in the community. We need to axe that right now and look forward to the future, a brighter future, whoever up here gets elected. Our heart's in the right place. All of us have a lot of the same ideas. We just have a different way of getting there. I volunteer all over the place. You'll see me at the parks refereeing baseball games or umpiring and doing all sorts of things. I'm also a veteran. I'm an American Legion member. I'm a member of the Illinois Police Association. I'm a member of the Fraternal Order of Police. I am a vice president of that union. I negotiate government contracts, and there is a difference between private contracts and government contracts. As Dave probably knows, in the last couple of years, there is a lot of negotiating that is a ton different than in the private world. And that's a benefit I think that I can bring to the people. And looking forward, I'm also dedicated to veterans of the wars. I'm an advocate and a representative of the Lincoln Land Honor Flight, which the next flight, if anybody wants to go, April 11th at the airport. Be out there about 9:30 p.m. to see our World War II veterans come back, our Vietnam veterans come back, our Korean War veterans. I'm really dedicated to that service. I think we owe them a tremendous amount of respect. So I'm out there in the community just as much as a part of a coach, but I'm also a dad out there cheering on the sidelines. As I get yelled at quite a bit by Nina, just to shh, don't say anything. That's the coach out there. So I'm out there with the families, cheering on the kids, and high-fiving the other team too. I want to bring this community back together. We need a partnership. I want an open board, which I've said up here several times. Come to us with a question. Let's answer it. And let's answer it together.
Thank you, Craig. I'm running because Chatham is my home. I want to make sure that Chatham has the best leaders it can have to move it forward. And move it forward with the citizens as well as the board and the village as a whole. My family's lived here over 120 years. We've seen Chatham grow from a small, minuscule town to the over 14,000 that it is now. And I want to see the best that it can be in the future. While we look at it currently, and I think we should also look at the past and say, what can we do that we did in the past of Chatham to make Chatham better in the future? I think that history helps us move forward to move us forward. What volunteer things have I been a part of? I think The two that are most important to me were ABC, the American Business Club. One of the big things that they do is they build Amtrikes for kids that can't ride bicycles like other kids can, whether it's they pedal with their hands instead of their feet or they do it other ways. The other is the Masons and Shriners. We have Masonic hospitals or Shriner hospitals all over the United States, and the care and health care that they give to those kids and their parents that can't necessarily afford it, but when they come to our hospitals, they don't pay a thing. So I think those are the two most important groups that I've been a part of. But like I said, and as others have said, we have some division in our community. As I've said before, Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself can't stand, and I believe a village that's divided against itself cannot move forward and progress. And I want to unite us together so we as a whole of Chatham can progress forward and be the best that we can be.
First of all, I want to thank the village trustee candidates and the village presidential candidates. It takes a lot for these guys. They're given a lot of time as a school board. I probably didn't go to near as many houses as I know that you guys do. So thank you for taking the time to listen. Also, I want to thank you for bringing up the schools. As you know, like you said, that's the reason people are coming to this community. But at the same time, I want to support you. And Mr. Mann, I like the idea of coming to the school board meetings. I would do the same for the village. I would like to work that issue. Because, the school board, we didn't get to talk about the water issue, but actually last night there was 11, they voted we have to test our water in all the elementary schools. And so it's going to cost the schools another $11,000. And that's more of the state's regulations, but that's who knows what it's going to come back. Then there's money spent there. I'm committed. If I'm elected, to be in the schools. I'm actually off on Friday, so I would like to visit. There's 6 schools in the district. Every 6 weeks I would like to be in a different school. One of the actual founding principles in our school district is for a school board member to be able to visit with the principal and be able to walk around and see what's going on in the schools. One of the programs that at my son's school in 6th grade, they started a GIS We Lead program, and then around that age group they have the Superheroes program. It's just some positive things that they've been doing in the community where the students are actually leading other students, and it gets high school students involved. So those kind of things I want to promote. I would encourage all of you guys to attend some school board meetings, at least maybe one a year. I know that when I asked one of the board members about a month ago, I said, why aren't people coming to the school board meetings? And he said, it's because people trust us. Well, you guys have been to enough meetings to know what happens when you just let things go and you let other people trust you. So I'm not saying you have to come there and with any bad attitudes or anything, but at the same time, all people need to be questioned. And also, right now, there's going to be an empty spot coming up because, like, my desire would be for Mr. Brewer and I to both be on the school board. But since we're both from the Ball Township area, we're not able to both be on there. So that actually leaves an empty spot that the board's going to elect, or they're going to choose the 7th person on the board. So that's kind of a sad thing that there's not more people running from all over our community. Just the last thing with some of the volunteer projects. On May 13th, you guys know that the school has prom. Well, they have the after prom, and with the after prom, kids stay till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's just a positive experience for the kids. And I'd encourage even some of the village people to volunteer for that. You know, it's the same time they have games. Like I said, they have all different things. And to promote that for some of the prizes, they're having a fundraiser on April 4th, so maybe some of you guys could have a victory party at the Texas Roadhouse. They're having a 10% up to 15% of the sales that night. If you mention Glenwood, will go toward the after prom committee. Thank you.
William Brewer. I'd just like to take a quick moment, kind of as a function of going last, to thank our moderator and our host for organizing this event. I'm going to be fairly brief about myself before I jump into why I'm running, but just so everyone's aware, I'm a pharmacist by trade. My wife and I moved here in 2003 with the simple purpose of we knew we wanted to be near Springfield, and we wanted to join a community in which our kids would have a good opportunity and a good education. Additionally, I kind of have maybe a unique perspective on education for no other reason than I'm one of those people that decided it would be fun to go back to college after being removed from 10 years and earned a master's of business administration here recently. You know, as far as volunteer work, I'm very involved with both my sons, who I mentioned are 3rd grade and 5th grade. Between chasing the two of them around and coaching both age levels, basketball and baseball, that occupies quite a bit of my volunteer time. You know, the reason I'm running, you know, there's 3 things that are areas of concern for me. Not that anything's wrong, just areas I'm concerned with. The first is class size, the second is fiscal responsibility, and the third is allocation of resources. And those allocation of resources doesn't always necessarily mean money. You know, it refers to equipment, supplies, teachers as well. You know, a lot of people ask, what's your thoughts on the class size? Well, who knows what the exact right number is, but here's what I can tell you. If any class starts with a 3, it's not right. 30 is too many, and a number in the lower 20s is certainly better than a number in the higher 20s. As Mr. Hardwick mentioned, the unfortunate circumstances of the election this time are that you have people that want to volunteer their time and participate, but based on the current laws, one of us is not going to be allowed to. You know, it'll either be Mr. Hardwick or myself, and I very politely and respectfully ask for your vote on April 4th, or as Paul mentioned, if you'd like to go down and vote anytime before then. Thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank all the candidates and all the audience for your participation this evening. I believe some of the candidates will be staying around, so if you wish to chat with them a little bit further and ask some personal questions, you're welcome to do that. There is material over on the table for dissemination, so if you'd like some of that information, please pick it up so that you become a very informed voter. Again, thank you very much, and everyone, good luck on the election.